Hello, welcome back. This reading is for the Gemini. I realized that I was recording these readings and mentioning the moon phases as they were about to come up, and that's a little backwards because we're moving past Gemini season and I'm just posting this, so sorry. Okay, so the first card that I got for you is the Ten of Swords. This was followed by the Queen of Wands in reverse, the Five of Swords in reverse, the Seven of Wands, and the Knave of Swords. And it's funny because each card, like one of them is purple, one of them is red, purple, red, purple. So I feel like you might be feeling a little bit ungrounded right now. The Ten of Swords, with this being your first card, I think for your birthday season, you might have felt a little bit like, it almost feels like you probably felt a little bit beat up by the universe. Maybe a little bit like exhausted, drained, overwhelmed even. But with the Ten of Swords being your very first card, this is not that bad because the first card is always something that's current. You're either currently in this or this is fleeting. So if you were feeling a little bit exhausted, a little bit down, maybe a little or a lot of bit triggered, overwhelmed, or just super ungrounded, I think that will definitely change for you. And it feels like you probably did a lot of healing during your season, which is not bad. The next card was the Queen of Wands, and it's funny because this card I think came out like twice already, for whatever sign I did before yours. But the Queen of Wands, this one still kind of feels like that same energy where it's like you've been through a bunch of shit, you've acquired a bunch of wisdom, but the way that it's showing up for you, I'm not sure that you have allowed yourself to go through that like Phoenix rising phase. I'm not sure that you've allowed yourself to go through that like deep rebirth just yet. And it feels like you might have been feeling a little bit more like pessimistic, or just like frustrated, or maybe just a little bit pessimistic, to be honest. Maybe a little bit frustrated with what might have come up for you, or with what feels like keeps coming up for you. And if you're feeling like it's a pattern, you are correct, because this Ten of Swords doesn't show up for nothing. It doesn't show up without reason, and neither does this card. Like, neither do these opportunities to create change or to undergo a transformation. None of that shows up without reason. And it feels like you might have been like, man, I don't want to do this, or like, this is just too much, I'm just gonna maybe isolate myself. You might have had troubles with your sleep schedules, things like that, but you have the wisdom. I just don't think that you've allowed yourself to undergo the transformation that's been trying to show up for you. I just get like the Phoenix rising vibe, but like you might be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that right now, which is understandable, especially if you've been feeling like this Ten of Swords energy. So like, I get it, but it's time to get it started. And then with the Five of Swords card, it feels, my light just turned off. I don't think that's an accident because I've charged it. But with the Five of Swords card, it feels very much like what I just described. And it's funny because I hadn't even looked at this card just yet. And while in this card there's like a moth in there, there's a lot of, I feel like there's been a lot of synchronicities around you. I do also feel like you have been not like jumping through timelines, but you might have been able to see things from so many different perspectives that have been able to show you maybe parts of yourself that you've kept hidden, shown you where you keep yourself hidden, or where you keep yourself like constrained to maybe old perceptions, old beliefs, and things like that. But rather than using all of those things to unlock different parts of yourself, or to open up more, it feels like it almost feels like you're running away from yourself to some degree. You might be running away from love, you might be running away from career opportunities. I say that one because there is literally like a heart locket in here in the middle of it, and in the background it looks like that Merkaba star, if I'm not mistaken, or like the star of, I forgot what it's called, but I know that it's a symbol of abundance and of protection and all of those things. And with all of these swords turned inward, it's like you're holding yourself back. So what is it for you that you're holding yourself back from, and why? Why are you keeping yourself in the same that might sound aggressive, but like, why are you keeping yourself in the same awareness that you've been in, even though you've acquired wisdom beyond that level? And then with the Seven of Swords and the Knave of Swords, when the Seven of Swords comes up, this one kind of feels good because it feels almost like what's that movie? Whatever that movie is where they gotta like acquire all those crystals or whatever, to be like powerful and all that stuff. The Seven of Wands kind of feels like that, but I don't know, I just don't feel like you're allowing yourself to go through the transformation. And I think you might be fearful of it because the way that this like panther or lion or whatever it is at the bottom, he's showing up like jumping out at you. So you might feel like there's something blocking you, or maybe like this goodness or this abundance, this connection maybe is not for you, but it wouldn't be showing up for you if you weren't ready for it. So what's stopping you? What is this fear or this belief that's keeping you in this energy? Because literally all of these swords are turned inwards, but the only web that's kind of keeping you trapped is yourself. There's literally nothing outside of this, not even in this card. There's nothing outside or around you that's forcing you to kind of stay here. It's everything that you might have been creating for yourself, even if it's on like a subconscious level. And then with the Knave of Swords, I feel like this is like, I don't know if I love the way that this is turning out, because I feel like a part of you might be too reluctant for this change or for this healing opportunity, for this connection. I don't think it's a connection, to be honest. I feel like this is all personal, like you against you type of thing. But it feels like you might be convincing yourself of these stories, these narratives that you know are illusions, but it's almost like if you convince yourself of these, or if you keep repeating these stories to yourself for so long, you will be safe or comfortable, and that's not the case. Because this dude is like literally in like a costume, and he has like this sword over him, which the sword is usually like fast messages or communication, but like, how are you communicating to yourself that's keeping you in this Queen of Wands energy when she's trying to go through this like rising of the Phoenix transformation? Because look at how like this Knave of Swords looks a little, he looks a little questionable. I get like a feeling of like you might be lying to yourself about something. So what is it that you're trying to avoid? What do you think you're afraid of that is keeping you from the world? In order for you to truly be able to listen to your higher self, to source, to really open up your crown chakra, your third eye, you want to make sure that you are grounded enough to do so. A lot of times we try to elevate, like there's a lot of media, there's a lot of talk about like moving from like the 3D to the 5D, and people want to reach like this level of enlightenment and of self-awareness, but they're not grounding. So like, how do you expect to get up here if you've never grounded yourself enough to be able to listen to the guidance to get you to that level of self-awareness, of enlightenment that you've been seeking? And how might you be keeping yourself in this like cycle of discomfort, of chaos, of, it feels like both cycles of like relationships and money. You might be subconsciously recreating and holding yourself back. So it's like recreating and self-sabotaging. I think you should definitely focus on grounding before you try to reach these levels of enlightenment that you think you need to get to. Because there's I don't know what this is about. It's different for everybody. So like I'm seeing and feeling like several stories every single time that I do these collective readings, which is why I try to keep them as general as I can. But you're lying to yourself about something, and I think that you know it, but complacency is being masked as comfort. I feel like I said this in another reading too. Who knows, maybe I just said it in the beginning. It just feels like you're avoiding that rising of the phoenix transformation. I believe in you, but do you believe in you, but do you believe in you? That's all I have for you. Take some time with this. And please remember, I will never DM you for a reading. My only Instagram is Mountains by Melody N. And I have 2 TikToks. One of them is Mountains by Melody N. The second is The Holistic Healer. To schedule a one-on-one with me, you can go to theholistichealer.org, not .com. Hopefully we can clarify whatever that is, or dig into that a little bit more, because I'm very curious. It is going to be different for everybody, but literally question yourself so that you can move beyond that and go through that like phoenix rising transformation. You're ready for it, but you don't think that you are. So, thank you for watching.